every single answer is within you. I'm just going to help you pull it out. And then when you buy in, that's when the motivation comes. That's when the accountability comes. And that's how we move forward.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Glen Gilbert Connection, where we discuss relationship wisdom for the seasoned man and woman. I am your host, Glen Gilbert. Today's guest is Kevin Kertes, founder of Advanced Men Coaching, a man who's walked the corporate grind, faced the quiet battles of self-doubt, and emerged with a mission to help men move forward with purpose, clarity, and connection. If you've ever felt stuck in survival mode, questioned your identity, or wondered what it really means to be a confident, present man in today's world, this episode is for you. Kevin doesn't just talk about transformation, he lives it. And whether you're a man navigating fatherhood, leadership, or relationships, or a woman curious about the inner journey men rarely speak about, this conversation will resonate. Kevin, thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Tell us about how you got here.
Well, I spent 30 years working in corporate. I worked for Sony Music at various record labels underneath the Sony umbrella. 20 years working for Warner Brothers Entertainment. Within that is a soundtrack label called Water Tower Music that I was there for, like I said, 18 years. At that label, we put out soundtracks for DZ movies, Game of Thrones, The Hobbit, tons of stuff that people are familiar with. Was part of a team that did that. Now I have a small little soundtrack label along with my coaching business.
You define advancement as moving forward in a purposeful way. What does living with purpose look like for men who feel stuck in survival mode?
I think that's the burning question, Glenn. I think
Right.
For each man, it's different. Like, how do we move ourselves forward? We know we feel stuck. There's a little piece of us is like something's not feeling right. But when you have enough self-awareness to understand that you want to move forward, this is where coaching comes in. The definition of advancement is moving forward in a purposeful way. Advanced men is moving men forward in a purposeful way. So it's, again, different for every man.
Sure.
So I think that's where the self-reflection and the work comes in.
Mm-hmm. It does take a little while for a guy to get there, doesn't it? Just to even be able to say, there's something needs to change.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think inherently we feel it, but we may not know exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. And then a little light bulb goes off.
I think that's part of just men, programmed, trained to be like, don't think about that, just carry on.
I think that's absolutely part of it. We just put our heads down and we have tasks that we have to do. Right. You know, we have responsibilities to our partners, to our family, to our work, and we just drive on and do what we're supposed to do. And when we stop to think, and there are moments, little hiccups in our lives, you know, God forbid somebody gets ill, a divorce, kids go off to school, all these little transitional moments where momentum shifts and you're given time to sort of think a little bit. That's where you sort of realize, something's not right.
Mm-hmm. So you've said everything changes when a man feels genuinely connected. Why is connection such a powerful catalyst for transformation?
It's like, that's a great question. Mm. When you were in high school and your friends were everything to you, sure. Everything. Your parents were like, whatever, I'm going to hang out with my friends. Mm-hmm. Those connections and that ability to connect to other men is so important for our own well-being, for our spirit, for our energy. Men work better, men function better when they're connected. Mm-hmm. You know, the isolation, we know there's tons of statistics about this. You know, divorce, men have high suicide rates. You know, we have destructive behaviors. Mm. That's when we don't feel connected and don't feel loved. That's when trouble starts.
Right. Yeah, it's about, from my understanding, men in general will self-delete about 4 times higher than women. And if you add on divorce, that doubles. I think even more, 8 to 9 times higher. So it's really bad. You've shared your own struggle with limiting beliefs. What are some of the most common ones you see in men, and how do you help them rewrite rather, those narratives?
Well, I feel as if, it's what we talked about before. It's the I got it thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I've cited this example before. If you're working at a company and you need some new data analytics, if your company doesn't have that particular department, you outsource it.
Mm-hmm.
You go get it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I feel as if men need to do a better job of taking care of their own business, like the business of me, the business of Kevin, the business of Glenn.
Right.
How do I function better?
Mm-hmm.
And again, coming out of isolation a little bit, understanding this. It's like if you want to learn how to play golf or tennis, you go get help. You need somebody to help you with your golf stroke. You need somebody to help you play tennis. We do this all the time, but we don't think about it in terms of how am I going to improve myself? How am I going to take myself to where I want to go? How am I going to fulfill all these ambitions and aspirations I've had for all these years of my life? And truthfully, the only way to do it is to seek out connection. It could start with a group of buddies.
Yes.
And one guy says, "I do this. Consider this." I've got a buddy who went and did this. So it starts a little bit with that, and then you sort of go off on your path.
Mm-hmm. What would you say in regards to those guys who really don't have a very close buddy list, like part of your inner circle? I was just thinking how, for me, it was really, really difficult to start finding close friends. I moved to a new area right at the perfect time of the pandemic, isolated, barely knew anybody, and it was hard for me to branch out. Finally did a few things of where during self-improvement, it's like, okay, I met some people and was able to, get some good friends that way. But what would you say would be some good ideas other than, get that self-improvement group of guys around you and then you can all check today. I mean, that's great. Not saying that's bad, but that's one way. Any other suggestions a guy could do?
The easy thing is, people you work with. That's the easy thing. Then I feel like even if you go out to the gym, if you work out at a gym, it's making, you have to put yourself out there a little bit. You have to be a little bit vulnerable to say hello to somebody. Hey, brother, I'm heading out to grab a sandwich. You want to head out with me? It's that little bit of effort. But most times, if somebody said that to you in a work environment, Glenn, I'm going out to grab a turkey sandwich. You want to head out with me? What do you think you would say?
Yeah, you leaving now?
Right.
Or when are we leaving? Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
This is what happens. We're just afraid to do it. But if anybody ever asks us, well, like, sure, let's go.
Yes, I've noticed that. I noticed a lot of guys are very receptive to, oh yeah, dude, yeah. I met a friend. It was like my girlfriend's friend, and it was her husband. And I through Instagram, hey buddy, what are you doing Friday? You wanna hang out, grab a drink or something? I'm not doing nothing. Yeah. He was like, sure, yeah, that sounds great. He was very enthusiastic. I was like, sweet, let's do this, man. And we hung out for a couple hours just shooting it, and it was great. Yeah.
Yeah. It just takes that little bit of effort. And again, 99% of the time, you're going to get a positive response on the other end. Even if you don't, the guy's going to say, dude, I'm just heading out, pick up my daughter from soccer, rain check. It's like.
Yeah, I think the worst thing they can say is no. And it's like, as guys, we should be well accustomed to that. We should be used to being told no. It's and another guy, most likely, are going to be like, oh, no kidding, dude, you want to hang out? Like that, it just doesn't happen. So I think for guys, we're innately just like, just so tired of all the rejection, being told no, and it's just kind of stuck in there. But I think
to your point, I mean, I have a buddy who a couple of weeks ago asked me to go to I live in Los Angeles, the LAFC soccer game. And I couldn't go, but he's one of my good friends. And I'm like, rain check, and I think I had dinner with him a couple of days later. It's like, just extending yourself. That's really what it is. And it's, again, most of the time we like receiving it. We like it when somebody reaches out because we're all kind of the same. We're
Right.
all afraid of the same things,
Right.
you know? So when you get it, it's great.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
putting in the effort. And if you don't put in the effort, you're not going to get to where you want to go. It's just a little bit of momentum gets more momentum. And you know what happens when you build up momentum? You build up speed and you go.
Yeah. It's good to always try and take action. Don't talk about it. And if you're able to take, I really like if you have to take a rain check, at least commit yourself to following up. It's really important to show your character that way. And
That's right.
I did something really similar with a friend where he invited me over. He was like, let's do, like, you can come over to my house we can have the wives meet and, we'll make dinner and all this stuff. And he had all this stuff planned out. And I was like, this is amazing. And then something came up a couple days before. And I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to cancel. And he's like, that's cool. Not a problem. So I told him I will make it up to you. So I ended up taking him, his wife, his girl. We went to a Mariners game. I'm like, dude, it's on me. Let's do this. We sat like close to the Mariners dugout. He was like, these are amazing seats. I'm like, man, you deserve it. You deserve it, buddy. That kind of stuff. But yeah, he's been a really good friend. I've known him for not even, it's like maybe a year or so, but we've talked about some really deep stuff. So it's just that making that effort to go out and do something as well as holding yourself accountable to follow up. And when you do, that feels even better.
And I think you touched on something. I think inherently we might be a little bit guarded to
Sure.
start, right?
Sure.
But the more time we spend in the same space doing something, we sort of let ourselves go a little bit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The armor comes off a little bit and we share a little bit. And that's where the beauty of male connection and male friendships are. Men's groups are designed differently. If somebody wants to join a men's group, when you join a men's group, everybody's like, okay, we're going to share some stuff in here,
Right.
but
Let's get serious.
what happens in here stays in here.
Right.
And those are beautiful spaces as well.
Yeah.
But that takes a whole other level of like, I just need to do something now.
And
And
a level of trust too.
a level of trust. And, I mean, and you all buy in.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's great. You had a breakthrough moment in a men's group where you allowed yourself to be vulnerable. Why do you think vulnerability is often misunderstood by men?
Well, it's for many men, it's a sign of weakness, right?
Mm.
Never let them see you sweat. The truth of the matter is, vulnerability is a superpower. I've said it before, and I will continue to say it. Vulnerability is an absolute superpower.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I was in a men's group. I was sharing some very intimate details about my personal life that I'd never shared before.
Mm-hmm.
To that extent, I didn't share with therapists that I had gone to for a long time. I was like, but when I opened up to this group, I was very emotional about it. And they all just wrapped their arms around me. It's like, Kevin, I experienced the same thing. That was the other part.
Ooh.
What I was sharing with them, several men in the group had also experienced. So then I was like, I'm not crazy.
Yes.
I'm not crazy. So that moment of vulnerability for me, and I did it the first day I was in the group because
Wow.
I just had to get it out. And it set me on a course, to put me into the men's coaching. It really, that group changed my life.
Right.
And how transformative it was for me, and understanding that men desperately want to communicate. Again, sometimes don't know how, aren't given the space, may not have a partner that's open to it or willing to participate in it with them.
Mm.
So it can be a challenge, but if you're able to do it, it's transformative.
Yeah. Yeah. Vulnerability and I guess letting that out to your partner is kind of a delicate dance, I would think, because you don't want to have her like lose respect for you in any way.
I'm curious.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm curious why you frame it that way.
I framed it that way because of personal anecdotal evidence and what I've heard from other men, other groups, that kind of thing. If a guy's being too emotional and just letting it out, crying or whatever, what I've witnessed personally and what I've heard about is there's a loss of respect from women where this is supposed to be my rock. This is the guy that's supposed to be taking on everything, and he's just a blubbering mess. Oh no. Like, how is he going to defend me or protect me or do anything when he's just falling apart right now? And I could see how that could just really allow a woman to be like, oh no, this may not go well.
So you said this, you've had some personal
Oh
experience
yeah.
with this?
Oh,
And
yeah.
how did that make you feel?
When I was that emotional,
Well, the whole process.
crap,
Right.
just crap, just horrible. I'm like, why? It was almost like this is what was expected of me, and it's backfiring 1,000x. This is horrible. And I'm like, I feel crap as it is. And then I'm like, well, I'm supposed to show vulnerability. And I think this is what I was supposed to do and blah, blah, blah. And it made me feel even worse. I mean, as a guy, it's like, oh no. Yeah. Can't, haven't done it since. I'm like, that was really bad.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that you went through
No.
something like that. But the question is, was it the reaction that you got, or that the fact that you were, where was the bad part?
I think both. I think it was how I felt inside, and then also watching her reaction. And then going, this is not going to go well. And then when I started hearing more of this, like women start losing respect, they don't see you as the rock or stability that they once, might have saw. I mean, I could see on her face like, oh, geez, dude. And I'm like, but this is what I understood I'm supposed to do. And so it was saying like, I'm feeling crappy doing this. Seeing her face going, uh-oh, something is even worse now, which compounded on me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? It was one of those things where I'm like, I'm never doing this again. This is crap.
Okay. So let's talk about that for a second. You expressed yourself, you opened yourself up to your partner, and she did not receive it well.
Mm-mm.
All right. So maybe you got the wrong partner.
That's a good point.
Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
if you can't express yourself to your partner, consider making a change,
Mm-hmm.
because you should be able to express yourself, and they should be there all for it.
Right.
And you should be there for them when they express themselves.
Right.
It's a partnership.
Right.
I mean, we can be weak. We also can be strong.
Right.
But we're allowed to have feelings and express ourselves and be open with our partners, and our partners should support us.
Yep.
And all they got to do is listen. Half the time, we don't want any other advice from them. We just want to be able to talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they should be they should be there for it. And if they're not, maybe there's something else to consider in the relationship. That's just my personal opinion about it. My partner is amazing when I open up to her. She's there for all of it. It's why we work so well together. We communicate really well on both sides. This is a 3-year relationship that I've been in with her, and we sort of laid the groundwork from the start, and it's been beautiful. So if any man is in a relationship with their partner and they can't express themselves the way they hoped to, they should be able to say to their partner, I need to be able to do this. Are you going to provide space for me to do this? Or you're not going to provide space for me to do this?
Yeah. And what about acceptance? Like, are you going to provide acceptance? Is this going to be,
right.
I mean, yeah, it's like, we need to know it's okay to be doing this.
All of this does, this is why I said to you before, vulnerability is a superpower. When you get it off your chest, you feel there's a sense of relief. You can sort of regroup a little bit. You sort of process it as you talk, and it helps build you up. It helps you be the man that you want to be. We all want to be powerful men for our partners, for our families, for our colleagues. We want to be able to walk into a room and feel good about ourselves and be empathetic and emotionally intelligent and all the things that are wrapped up with being proud of ourselves.
Right.
Without being demonstrative or maniacal or narcissistic or any of those other things.
Sure. One thing I did find that really has helped me going down that road is to do things for others and expect nothing in return. You know, and maybe it's not just being vulnerable, but it's saying, yeah, this is where I'm struggling, and you know, that's okay. And then being cool with it, or helping somebody and doing something for them and expect nothing in return, providing favor, you know, yep, I'm willing to do that and expect nothing in return. That has helped like my own self-confidence grow tremendously. It's really yeah, go ahead.
No, it's a fantastic thing to do. It makes somebody else feel good. It's like giving your kid a Christmas gift that they love,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're like, it's just a really great feeling.
Right.
Being able to help somebody. That's a connection that you're making. You know, you're helping somebody out. I can see that this is something that you like. You know, I saw this and I thought of you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
Don't need to do anything in return. I'm not expecting anything in return. It's like you have a good day. That's great. Yeah.
I'll tell you a quick anecdotal story. I went to dinner a couple of weeks ago with a friend of mine and his girlfriend, and my girlfriend was there. And the woman was telling a story about her ex-husband, and the ex-husband always used to say to her kids, their kids would ask him for something, and he'd go, "What's in it for me?"
Ooh.
Everything.
Ooh.
What's in it for me?
Okay.
That's what he would say. The most mundane of tasks that a child would ask a father.
Child.
What's in it for me?
How old were the kids?
The kids were,
Just curious.
I'm not exactly sure how they were pretty young, but
Yeah.
even as they got older, you know, this guy is a, you know, full blown narcissist. And that's the way he would talk. What's in it for me?
Sure.
But to your point, that's not the way it works.
Right.
It's not the way it should work.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's a full-blown narcissist. It's like, I know you want something. What do I get? I could.
I mean, I couldn't, in a million years, I couldn't imagine saying that to my daughter. What's in it for me?
Right. I'm like, they're children. They're the innocent. Oh, yeah, dude. You help men build genuine confidence. What's the difference between confidence that's rooted in clarity versus one that's performative?
Well, performative is, you know, I'm doing it for my own selfish reasons.
What's in it for me?
Right. What's in it for me?
Right.
I mean, it's really that simple. I mean, just to do something so somebody else thinks I'm great.
Right.
You know, that's not the way I operate. I mean, there are certainly men out there that operate that way. That is not the way I operate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about doing work and, you know, a lot of the stuff that we've already discussed.
Yeah. How does coaching help men become more present fathers? And what does presence really mean in the context of parenting?
Presence in the context of parenting is absolutely everything. And coaching, look, I have two older stepdaughters, and I have a daughter with my ex. I've been around women my whole life. And for me, one of the biggest reasons why I got into coaching was I want my daughters to be around good men. The Me Too movement, it goes me from 0 to 1,000 in lickety split. You talk about road rage. That's the way I think about the way men treat women. So one of the biggest reasons, and I have a page on my website, advancementcoaching.com, where I talk about for the women. It's a note to them. And if I can even help one man through coaching improve their life, that will roll downhill. If they start to feel good about who they are, what they do, their drive, their just everything that they want to achieve in their life. If I can help even one guy and it rolls downhill to the community that man is a part of, everybody wins.
Yeah. 100%.
So that's why coaching to me is my way to do that. It's my way a guy wants to start a new business. He wants to open up a tire shop, or he wants to open up a bakery, or he wants to open up a new accounting firm. Whatever the guy wants to do, he wants to be more present for his wife. I will help him through a series of steps and tools. Think about why he wants to do this. Most importantly, we always have to have our why.
Absolutely.
Why do I want to do this? I can give you, or we can come up with 10 steps of what you need to do to open up that, you know, bakery. But if you don't know why you want to open up the bakery, what's the point?
You're not going to get very far.
You're not going to get very far.
Right.
There's no passion for it. It's like, I just want to make money. Great. Who does it?
Well, that box is checked. Okay, next.
Right. And I think that happens for a lot of people, and I think that's why people get frustrated in their work. It's just a job.
Mhm.
And I was guilty of it for a lot of years. So this new work is, I mean, I'm passionate about what I do because I get to help young composers. When they want to put out a record and they come to me, and we're able to do that for them, that's very satisfying.
Nice.
Very, very satisfying.
Nice.
So they can open up Spotify and see their stuff on Spotify and stream it and send it to their mom and their dad and all that stuff. That's just, it's great.
Right.
And I get similar stuff on a much broader level, I would say, in this space as a coach.
Nice. You challenge the idea that independence equals strength. How do you help men redefine masculinity in a way that includes emotional depth and support?
I don't know that I necessarily agree with that statement about independence equals strength.
Okay.
Community to me equals strength, like we talked about before. So can you repeat the second part of the question for me again?
How do you help men redefine masculinity in a way that includes emotional depth and support?
Okay. Masculinity to me is an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's defined differently in different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
And masculinity should be defined in my space is a lot of the traits that we've talked about before. Emotional intelligence, empathy, self-confidence, all of that should present itself in such a way where you have the magnetism when you walk into a room, but without the ego and the bravado,
Mm-hmm.
right? Without the pounding of the chest.
Mm-hmm.
And look at me, aren't I beautiful? That's little boy stuff, right? So if the man feels confident in who he is and how he provides and his family, that to me, along with a good sense of community, should define masculinity. And anything else to me, any of this stuff where it's I'm better than you, and I make more noise than you, and I make more money than you, all of that is just to me personally, it's just little boy behavior.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The bravado.
The bravado. I don't really. I was, had a conversation earlier today with my therapist, and he said to me, we were talking about having children, and there's plenty of men in this world who don't have kids, but his whole point was, I don't think you become a man until you have a parent, until you become a parent, because then the focus is not about you anymore.
Right.
It's about the kids. And for most of your life, you're only thinking about yourself. But when you have kids, you start thinking about them. There are a lot of examples of men who don't think like that.
Sure.
Unfortunately, in this world. But I think that's the way it should be. That once you become a father and the focus comes off you and goes to those kids, that's how you sort of, in my mind, define masculinity and what it means to be a full advanced man.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's great. If this episode sparks something in you, don't let it fade. Share it with a friend, a brother, a partner. Subscribe to the Glen Gilbert Connection on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're ready to move forward with purpose, check out Kevin's work at Advanced Men Coaching. Let's continue. You emphasize building habits that align with values. Can you share a story where a small habit led to a major shift in a client's life?
Sure. Accountability is very important in coaching. And sometimes we don't hold ourselves accountable. If we have partners that say to us, I need to get new tires for the car. Can you do that? Can you stop on the way home? We need a few things for the dinner party. Your colleagues at work ask you to do some stuff. You always do that. You're always responsible. Your kid asks you for something, you do it. But sometimes to hold ourselves accountable, We don't do that. And when you, I had a client who really wanted, I use this example a lot. He wanted to start a podcast and he kept getting wrapped up in all the minutia of the mic he was going to use, and the camera he was going to use.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
And all the other stuff that goes along with it. But he wasn't really working on what he wanted to talk about, or how he was going to do all that stuff. So we sort of like, I would hold him accountable to do certain things to get him where he wanted to go. If you don't hold yourself accountable and you don't have your why, you're not going to move yourself forward. You're not going to advance. So it's not that hard, but you got to be devoted to it and you got to be willing to put in the work.
100%. Yeah, holding yourself accountable is huge. It's a game changer when you start thinking that way. At least I can say for me, it was something to where there was a shift when I was like, oh, that really wasn't my fault. Oh, that really didn't happen. I'm trying to ignore what really happened and doing stuff like, whatever, dude. I'm just going to ignore that feeling. Versus, yep, that's what I did. Let's move on. It's a big mind shift. Mm-hmm. And I did that. And I when I started doing that, I'm like, things started changing. Things became different.
Another superpower.
Yeah. And then you said, finding out your why. It's like, we need a purpose. Figure out that purpose, figure out that why, and then dive in 100%. Yeah. Yeah. How does coaching impact the way men show up in their relationship as partners, friends, and sons?
Well, it's sort of what we talked about a little bit earlier. It's like when a man sort of feels good about who they are, and if coaching can help a man sort of build onto who they want to be, it will all roll downhill with no effort at all. The people will be able to feel it from you. There'll be an energy coming from you. You got a smile on your face because you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
there's a positivity that comes from it, and it will emanate from you. You've walked and talked to people that have good energy and bad energy. You can immediately feel it.
100%.
Right? And when you have it, it's a great feeling, but don't abuse it. It's not that power, that energy is not for you to feel better than somebody else. It's for just you to feel good.
Right. You talk about helping men shift from overwhelm to clarity. What mindset shifts are essential for men to move forward with intention?
It's figuring out exactly your why, and then figuring out what you want to do, and then following the accountability steps.
Yeah.
It's an action plan, but it's holding yourself accountable. And coaching will always do that. If you have the right kind of coach, you set it up in sort of the contract when you work together. How do you want me to hold you accountable? Do you want to just do it on your own? Or you just want me to help you? It's like there's different modalities in this world. There's like, if you hire a consultant to help you do something, most of the time consultants will tell you what to do, but there's no accountability. They'll just give you steps. They'll give you steps to follow. You can hire a mentor or work with a mentor, and the mentors will walk you through the steps. I did this. You should do this. They'll handhold you and walk you through it, right? There's therapy, which you go to, but therapy always tends to talk about stuff that happened in your past to figure out why you're doing something the way you're doing it. You've got family and friends that say, Glenn, you should do this. And that's it. Your mother says it to you, your girlfriend says it to you, your buddy says it to you. Just do this. And then there's coaching, where it's like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to help you figure out what to do. And then I'm going to hold you accountable, because every single answer is within you. I'm just going to help you pull it out. And then when you buy in, that's when the motivation comes. That's when the accountability comes. And that's how we move forward.
Right. You remind me of, it's also a shift in mindset when you start taking accountability, and say you have somebody like yourself kind of coaching or something. there used to be like, oh, I'm going to go to an authority and be like, yeah, I wasn't able to finish that. And they go, oh, that's fine. And you kind of feel, oh, I got away with it. Maybe as a little kid. That's what I'm thinking of. As a little child, oh, I did this. It's okay. You're fine. And that carrying over as an adult just doesn't work. And what you're describing here, by having some accountability for one's actions, it's like as a coach, it's like, hey, if you didn't do that, that's not on me. That's on you, man.
Right.
You're not hurting anything. It's you're the one that wants to improve, but you're not doing it.
That's why buy-in is so important, because at the beginning you got to buy in. We are at our places of employment, we're accountable all the time. Your boss says you need to do this. Why do you do this? I'm so sorry. I'll get it done. It won't happen again. But again, when it comes to our own work, sometimes we slack off, and that's where the coach can come in and hold you accountable and say, we talked about why you want to do this. You've bought into this. So why do you think you didn't take the steps necessary to do it?
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to be honest.
Yeah. 100%.
And it can all shift. That's fine.
Sure.
So, if you don't do it, there's a reason why you didn't do it. So let's talk about why you didn't do it, how you felt about not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a process. Changing. Yeah. As long as you got some buy-in, that's the first step. As long as you're willing to do something about it, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but if you have a mindset to be like, okay, I got to do this. I need to change, or however you want to amp yourself up. I think improvement will always come.
It's like I said before, the business of me. Like, this is what I need to do to sort of go where I want to go.
Right.
So I bought in, and this is how we're going to do it.
Right. You've lived through the middle management grind. If I'm saying that right. Yeah. How do you guide men through a career shift that aligns with their deeper purpose?
I'm experiencing it right now.
Nice.
And I can tell you that when there's purpose behind the new grind, it's more meaningful. It can be hard for sure. You got to be patient. You may not make the money that you made before. I'm definitely not making the money I made before when you spend as many years as I did in corporate. But you have to be willing to understand that and put in the time and the effort. And every time I get frustrated with this process, I think back to my why. And I mentioned to you earlier, daughters, better men, Me Too movements. This is why I do it.
Right.
So knowing that, it's easy for me to get back on the horse and let's keep going.
Nice. You say that, you say that seeking support isn't weakness, it's wisdom. How do you help men overcome the stigma around asking for help?
I said this before, the business of me.
Mm-hmm.
If you thought of yourself as a business, you would go out and get help to do something. You need, again, a data analytics person at your place of employment. We don't have somebody, you go get them. You get an expert to come in. You need somebody to help with your golf swing. You get somebody to help with the golf swing. It doesn't, we do this all the time, but we just don't think about it when it comes to our own selves and how we want to improve. And a little bit of vulnerability. Can you help me sort of do this? This is where I want to go. No problem. I'll help you get to where you want to go. And then once you do that, you can do anything you want to do. There's nothing a person, a man can't do without a little bit of work, right? Look, I'm 5'8". I'm never going to dunk a basketball, no matter how hard I work. I understand that as much as I'd like to. So yes, there are some things you'll never be able to do. But for the most part, you put the work in, you should be able to do it. And if you can't, at least you tried. You put in the work, you put in the effort, and then you'll figure out what's next after that.
At least to say you tried.
That's right.
What do they say? You're going to miss 100% of the shots if you don't take one, something like that.
That's right.
Yeah. You mentioned that every decision reflects who we are. How do you help men reconnect with their authentic identity?
This happens after the work gets done.
Mm.
You have to recognize and be self-aware enough to know that your actions have implications. Um, so with self-awareness, you can make the decisions that are right for you and right for your family and everything else. But I think that only comes with self-awareness, and that comes through work, whether it's through therapy or through, good conversations with your partner. You know, it's like she might sense something in you. I feel like you need to got something on your mind you want to talk about, and
Mhm.
then she's there for you. It's like, it's those kinds of things that get you where you want to go.
You reminded me of, I started using the word help at work. Hey, just need your help with this, blah, blah, blah. And it's something to where I've received a lot of really good positive reception to it. Whereas, hey, I got a question for you, blah, blah, blah. Or there's this thing that came up. What do you think? Rather than going, hey, I'd like to get your help on this. I've got, I'm struggling with something, or just like I've got this question and I can't solve it. I need your help. And it seemed to really be impactful to those around me of just like, hey, need your help with something, blah, blah, blah. And everyone has responded really well.
See, that's interesting you say that. And thank you for framing it that way, because I think it's important the way you framed it. And it goes back to what I said before about putting yourself out there a little bit and being a little bit vulnerable. Again,
Yes.
a superpower. When we do that, people want to help. Except for the guy that says, "What's in it for me?"
That guy.
They want to help.
Right. Right.
So it's wonderful that you can frame it that way, because the other part does, like, I could do this myself, but I got a question for you. It's like, this is now you're just saying, look, I need help with this. Can you help me?
You say the answers aren't out there, they're already within. What tools or practices do you use to help men access that inner clarity?
That's a good question. It's a good coach, good question for a coach.
Hmm.
And when you work with me, we sort of do an energy leadership index. It's sort of this test that the IPEC school, where I went and got my coaching certification,
Hmm.
has come up with. And there's a series of questions that it asks you, and it determines your energy levels around certain things. Um, in coaching, there's something called catabolic energy and anabolic energy,
Yep.
right? So the catabolic energy is what we talked about before. Walk in, you go to work and you go, I don't feel like being here. Just, is it 5 o'clock yet? And then there's anabolic, which is like, I'm going to conquer the world today. Um, so in coaching, there's all kinds of tools that we have to sort of, once we understand where your sort of resting coaching level is, coaching energy level is at, we can sort of work from there. And we work, there's a whole litany of tools that I have. We go through, talking about limiting beliefs, and they call them gremlins, like the little guy on your shoulders, like you can't do this, just because your history. So there's a whole bunch of things that we sort of talk through to accomplish the goals that we have. It's not just two guys having a conversation. That's not what good coaching is. There's nothing wrong with a good conversation, but if you want to be coached properly, in my opinion, there are tools and trainings that your coaches go through to help you sort of break through.
What does legacy mean to you? And how do you help men think about the impact that they want to leave behind, not just professionally, but personally?
It's not about how much money you make. It's about the friends you have.
No,
It's about
yeah,
the impact you've had on their lives, on your family's life. Um, that's what legacy is to me.
yeah.
What kind of impact have I had on my daughter's lives, on my friends' lives, on my ex-wife's life? Everybody I come in contact with, my other family members. That to me is the most beautiful thing in the world. Look, I lost my father when I was a kid, and
Mm.
he was a salesman at a jewelry store in the mall. Didn't have a lot of friends, but man, oh man, the impact he had on me and my brother and my family. And he's been gone 40 something years. And I still think about him. And whenever I go home to see my family, we talk about my father a lot. He was not a rich man.
Mhm.
He drove a Honda Prelude in 1986. But man, the legacy he left, I got recipes that I cooked for my daughter that my father cooked for me when I was 12. I
Right.
make for her. That to me is what legacy is. It's not about anything else. It's the connections you leave behind and the impact you've had on the people that you love.
That's fantastic. I'm sorry to hear about your loss. That's tough, especially at such a young age.
Thanks.
Wow, we've covered a lot today. I was just writing down some notes like responsibility, accountability, understanding the why. I mean, this is all really great things for men. How can somebody find you? Where can they find you?
Well, the easiest way to find me is www.advancedmencoaching.com.
Kevin, thank you so much for sharing your journey and the powerful work you're doing with advanced men. You've shown us that clarity, confidence, and connection aren't just buzzwords. They're the foundation for real transformation. If this conversation has hit home, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the Glen Gilbert Connection for more interviews that challenge, inspire, and connect. Kevin, again, thank you so much for your time and insight. I truly appreciate it.
Glenn, I appreciate the kind words and keep up the good work. We need more guys out there like you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.